Mark, very much for the introduction. I want to say, Brandon, those were phenomenal comments that you had. And, we do need many more families like the Dukes, and I'm proud that you recognize them and call them out. I want to say thanks to Christian Family Care for hosting today. This is an incredibly important and vital cause for our state, and oftentimes I think it's hidden or only talked about when it makes the front page. We're blessed to have an organization like this that's so devoted to serving and standing up for every child that's in our state, making sure that all of them are loved and cared for. On a personal level, I'm grateful for not only the partnership of CFC, but also their support and the way they educate people around the state on this issue. The issue of children and families, specifically adoption and foster care, is of deep and great meaning to myself and to my wife. Angela happens to be the aunt of a foster child. That makes me the uncle to that foster child. And we stood as godparents to Adam at Easter Mass 2 years ago. So when we created the Council on Child Safety and Empowerment last year, I couldn't think of anyone better to serve as chair than my wife Angela. And I've also been inspired and encouraged by that council and our Office of Youth, Faith, and Families, and that's led by Debbie Moak. Debbie, will you stand up so everybody, I think everybody knows who you are, but Debbie has really shaken things up at the state capitol. You don't see a lot of people like Debbie Moak coming in from the private sector to run an agency, and I love the profile that she's brought to this cause and what good we can do partnering with the private sector and with philanthropic organizations. And she's one of the most committed and dedicated public servants I've met. Together we've made significant progress to tackle some incredibly pressing issues for kids and communities throughout Arizona. And I'm happy to share some of the initiatives that we have accomplished today in just these first 2 years of the administration. You know, I think the hallmark of this past legislative session was that we not only were able to finally have a structurally balanced budget, but part of the reason that we focus so much on responsible spending is so that we can take care of the most vulnerable, so that we can have the dollars there for those that need it most. And that's especially our foster children and families. There's no higher priority than the safety and welfare of our children, and I think that's one thing that all of us here in this room can agree on. A few weeks ago, we signed a budget that definitely put kids first. It put significant new investments to reverse growth of Arizona kids entering the foster care system. It makes prevention and in-home services a priority, and we know that that's key. If more families can get assistance before a crisis, the more likely they are to stay together. We believe it's always better for kids to stay in the safe care of their homes than be thwarted into state care. But our first priority must be keeping families together, and that will continue to be the focus in how we provide incentives in the policies that we put forward. For the 19,000 plus children already in foster care, we're going to fight tirelessly for them as well. We've provided DCS with added resources to tackle the backlog of child cases in the system and to make crucial policy reforms that ensure all foster children have the same opportunities at a safe, healthy, and happy life. Several weeks ago, I signed legislation to make it easier for Arizona foster kids and families to get access to crucial behavioral health care, which is often needed for these children. You may have heard of this referred to as Jacob's Law. Inspired by a foster child of an amazing woman who fought tirelessly in the public eye and at the Capitol to get this passed. And I really found it shocking that it took so long for an idea this good to happen. Like too many kids in the foster care system, Jacob suffered from years of trauma and abuse. And when it came to getting him the urgent and vital behavioral health care that he needed, he and his family ran into this state agency, a maze of bureaucracy and red tape. You know, these parents and foster kids face enough challenges in addition to waiting months to get the care they need. And when we can change a law to ease the path, I was very happy to sign it. So now that maze of bureaucracy, that red tape, those roadblocks won't be there. Thanks to Jacob and his foster mom, Susan, and so many others who championed this cause and brought it to our attention. This will ensure that the health needs of our most vulnerable children are no longer ignored. We were also able to enact a reform to improve foster care and adoption policies. It was a high priority area, and we want to see fewer kids, of course, in the state care, and encourage more good people to open their homes, and we must make it easier for them to do that. Our focus here is on rewarding foster parents for the important and difficult work they do, and incentivizing more people to become adoptive and foster parents, and also making them aware of this issue. So whether they're an adoptive parent, a foster parent, or a court-appointed special advocate, all of these are crucial to easing the burden. We got rid of a policy that was making it difficult for existing family members to financially support children placed in their care. This was referred to as the grandmother penalty in my State of the State this legislative session. And what we want to do is make it easier and not harder for relatives to step up and take care for a child when a parent has failed to do so. And 10 times out of 10, we'd rather see that child with their grandmother who will love and spoil them than in the care of the state. Removing this penalty ensures kids are punished for the failings of their parents and ensures that relatives that have the resources they need to take on this role of caretaker. We made significant improvements to foster care training and licensing, including the efforts to reduce the time to permanency for the child. This ensures that when a child does find a loving home, they can stay there. And most recently, we took meaningful action to expand educational opportunities for foster kids so that once they're in a home, they have access to the best possible education. We also passed an initiative to give school-age children enrollment preference at the public school of their choice. It includes an advance appropriation to expand foster ed statewide. This is an excellent program already being piloted in Pima County. Every foster child will be assigned an education champion who will support the child's long-term success. And the student will work with an education team who will develop an individualized education plan based on the child's academic strengths and needs, and oftentimes their needs are specific and urgent. This was a priority for this session, and it fulfills a pledge made in January to ensure our most vulnerable children have every possible chance at success. We've been seeing the positive outcomes this program has had on foster youth in Southern Arizona, and we look forward to bringing it statewide. We want to make it available, of course, to all of our kids in each part of our state, including Maricopa County and our rural areas. You know, we have a lot of work left to do in this area, but I am very encouraged by the progress we've been able to make in a short period of time for the most vulnerable in our state. I also know that when it comes to children and these families, our work will never be done. We're never going to check the box and move on to some other policy focus. There are about 19,000 reasons that everyone in this room should stay focused on this and throughout the state, and I know you've already committed yourself to this issue. I know in many places and in many situations these problems are solvable because we solve them one child at a time. You know, each one of these issues have a face and a name and a future, and they really do depend on the people in this room. So it's up to all of us to make sure this is the best possible situation for the kids in our state. And when it comes to fighting for more adoptions and more foster parents, more permanency, and the ability to keep more families together, just know I will be on the front lines with you, and so will my wife, Angela. I'm proud to have this organization and all the tireless advocates in this room and throughout our state by my side. I want to thank you for your partnership and the wonderful work that you do. And I also want to encourage you to bring those good ideas or the misses or shortcomings that you see in our system to the forefront. I'm really encouraged by what I've seen this last year. Even on Sunday night, I joined Arizona's head coach, Bruce Arians, and his wife, Chris, who is an incredible advocate for our court-appointed special advocates that we have. We have so few in this state, and we need so many more. But when you see somebody who has a platform like that of the National Football League, and not only does his wife want to make a difference in this, he wants to film public service announcements and challenge people that the real, that football isn't tough. What's tough is what these kids have been dealt. And it's up to us to make the difference. It encourages me that we have leaders in our state, both in the business community and entertainment, that will help us, that will serve the cultural needs of our state. We see that heading in such a different direction in so many other places. So I know these problems are real. I know you face them every day. I understand the discouragement around them. But when we do have these successes and we can focus on the children that are in front of us, I know we can make a real difference. I look forward to working with you in the years to come. I thank you for your service, and I appreciate you having me here this morning. Thank you.